Hi everyone, my name is Colleen Lederer and I'm from Beacon Health and Fitness, and today I'm doing a stretch video. So on the mat. So the goal of the class is to relax muscles, hopefully help you relax. This is a great stretch to do before bed, after a long exercise session. And I know a lot of times finding that 30 minutes to stretch seems kind of like not very possible to do. You're into your other workouts, and we don't give ourselves the luxury of a great stretch class. So today's class will focus on stretch on the mat and just doing some simple things that can help you loosen up muscles at home. So all you'll need for this will be your mat. So we'll come over here and we'll start on the mat. Now let's start by just sitting up, kind of cross-legged here, hands on top of the knees, pulling up through the crown of the head, lengthening up a little bit. And just focus on some nice deep breaths. So we'll inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. Feeling your shoulders rise and fall with each breath. Even closing your eyes if that helps. Doing some of these exercises before bed can help you rest a little more peacefully at night and sleep a little bit better. Nice deep breath. Good. Slowly come up and let's slowly turn to one side. Let's use the opposite hand on the opposite knee and just round a little bit. Try to keep this knee down, so I don't want you to pull up on it. Just turning and looking over your shoulder a little bit. Dropping that opposite shoulder down. Good. Slowly come back to center. Opposite hand on the opposite knee. Just getting a little bit of rotation in the spine here. Loosening up. Good. Coming back to center. Glasses out of the way. We'll do the feet wide. I want you to bring the hands right down to the front, in front of you here. Flexing the feet so it's hard to see there. So flexing the feet so you still have some length in the back of the calves and hinging forward here just a little bit. This is great for hamstrings, especially if you do a lot of walking, a lot of running. This will really feel good. And so we'll do this one several times in the class, and you can kind of feel yourself loosening up when you feel the elbows coming a little bit closer to the floor. I'm really tight in my hamstrings today, so I can feel that I'm not very close to the floor, and that's okay. Gives you that baseline of where you are when you start this stretch. Slowly coming back up. One hand towards the foot, bringing the other arm over. Kind of circling your head with your arms. Taking that elbow towards the ceiling. Slowly come forward so both hands are forward. Coming to the other leg and lifting that elbow up, opening up in the rib cage there, taking the elbow towards the ceiling. Coming back to center. Hands down on the floor. Slowly come back up. Let's work on the hips a little bit. Still in the seated position. Bring the soles of the feet together. Hands can be on top of the ankles here. Just pulling yourself forward a little bit. And as you do so, can you pull those shoulder blades down a little bit? Good. Good. Keep holding. lifting up in the chest, kind of taking your heart towards the ceiling, driving those shoulder blades down. If you feel like you're up here, slide the shoulder blades back down. We hold a lot of tension in our shoulders and our neck, so it's good to just kind of lengthen out through the crown of the head. Imagine there's a yardstick behind you and you're kind of getting a little bit taller. Good. Slowly, let's go back to that open position. Hinge forward with those hands. Still flexing the feet, so you're increasing that length from the calves and the Achilles tendon. Hands down. I really need this today, this stretch. See if you can walk your hands further just a little bit. Good, slowly come back up. Let's work on those hips a little bit more. We'll take one leg in front of us and one leg behind. So imagine you have two 90-degree angles. You're kind of boxing yourself in. One knee is parallel to the front of your mat, the other knee is parallel to the side, and kind of squaring yourself off. So bringing the hip that's behind you forward just a little bit and hinging forward. Still taking those nice deep breaths. And remember, only go down as far as you feel comfortable. Sometimes just coming into this stretch is enough, so you don't want to force it. And let's switch legs. Switching sides. Again, squaring off that back hip. Coming forward. Good, slowly coming up. Now, we're switching sides again. We're going to come to a kneeling position. If you have any issues with your knees, you can always double your mat, or you can actually put a small towel underneath one of the knees as well. So we're going to take 1 foot forward. So now we're back to those two 90-degree angles. 1 foot's back, 1 foot's forward. And we're going to lean forward. So reaching up through the hip flexor here. Relaxing the shoulders a little bit. Again, go at a range of motion that works for you if you need to back out of this stretch for a little bit and then go back to it, as long as you're not bouncing. Good, slowly come back. Let's switch sides. Other foot forward. Hand can be in that front knee, pushing that hip forward, working on the other hip flexor here. You can adjust the beat if you need to take that foot forward just a little bit more. Good, come on back. We're going to switch sides. So coming to the other side switching, I just want to switch my lights real quick. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so we've switched sides. We're going to come down, scoot back a little bit, and we're going to take Opposite hand towards the opposite foot, and we'll reach up towards the floor, the ceiling, sorry. Looking out to the side. So you have one hand pushing into the floor, you have the other hand reaching up to the ceiling. If that's too much for the shoulder, you can bring that arm down. You might feel this in your glutes and your low back. Either one. Slowly come back down to center. Slowly come back out and let's switch. Other foot forward. Excuse me. Opposite hand towards the opposite foot. Lengthen the other arm out to the ceiling. Slowly come back to center, slowly come up, and let's work on the low back a little bit before you come back to the hamstrings. So seated in that kneeling position, hips towards the knees, hips towards the heels, take the hands forward. Reaching the fingertips forward and driving the hips back. You can widen your knees here a little bit if that makes this a little bit easier. Slowly come on up. We have one more kneeling hamstring stretch, so we'll take one leg forward. We'll hinge back a little bit. Kind of the heels drawing in place, lengthening back, taking your hips towards your heel. Slowly come back up. And again, if being on your knees is difficult for this hamstring stretch, you can sit on the floor and do the legs wide again. Hinging back. Good, slowly come back up. Let's work on the low back a little bit more. And we'll start with the cat-cow stretch. So coming down on all fours, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, rounding the head up, rounding the back up. Think of that cat stretch, like a Halloween cat, or the cat arches its back. Coming back down, bring the head up, let the belly be heavy here. And just lifting up, so you're looking at the floor in front of your mat. Inhale. Exhale as you pull the navel towards the spine and arch the back again. So finding some room between each vertebrae. And out. And up. Good. And coming into that child's pose again, take the hips towards the heels, walk the hands forward, widen the knees if that makes it easier. Lengthening out through the spine, lengthening out through the fingertips. Good, slowly come back up. So let's do some work for the front of the leg here. We'll be in a side position. So on your mat, lengthening the bottom arm out so your head can rest on it. Knees are bent. We're going to reach back for our ankle here. And you can always use a strap if reaching back for the ankle is not possible. Use a strap on top of the ankle and hold it. So you're pulling your heel towards your bottom. You're getting a little bit of a stretch in the shoulder here as well because that shoulder is being pulled back and down. Head and neck are neutral here. So lengthening out through the quadricep, the front of the leg. We've worked on the hamstrings, glutes, hips. And to feel it a little bit more, you can try pushing your hips forward a little bit, maybe squeezing that shoulder blade back, and you might feel this a little bit more. Nice deep breaths. As that quadricep releases a little bit, you might notice that the heel comes a little bit closer to the glutes, to your back side. Good, slowly release that. Take the knee to the floor in front of you and bring the arms overhead. Good. Coming back to center, we'll lengthen the legs out a little bit. We'll do a little bit of work for the shoulders. We're going to take both arms in front. I know it's a little awkward for your head to be this low, and if that doesn't work, you could always either double your mat or grab a cushion or a towel if this being too low is hard on the head. So we're going to reach the fingertips, the top fingertips forward just a little bit. We're going to trace the floor overhead. We're going to start to take that arm back, so you'll roll back on the hip a little bit, but I want you to feel this in the chest. We'll take the arm back overhead, especially as you're reaching overhead, trying to keep your fingertips close to the floor if possible. And we'll come back, so now the hands are stacked. So we'll push the fingertips forward just a little bit. Trace that half circle above your head. Rolling back on the hips a little bit. Bringing the arm out to the side, opening up, tracing it back. And one more time, fingertips forward, take it back, roll out, and come back. Good. Very good. So let's carefully come up and we'll do the other side with the quadricep stretch. So switching sides, lengthening out the bottom arm so your head can rest on it, reaching back, holding the foot toward the heel towards your glute here, pushing the hip forward a little bit to feel that stretch more, lengthening out the top shoulder a little bit as well. Nice deep breath. Good, slowly release the foot. Bring the knee right on the floor in front of you. Take the arms overhead, take a nice stretch. Good, slowly come back, stack both arms, bring the arms in front of you, stacking the hips as well. Remember, your head can rest on a pillow here if that's a little bit easier. So we're gonna walk those front fingertips forward. We'll trace that half circle in front of us, kind of rolling out to the side, opening the arms up, tracing the hand back, coming back, and the hands are stacked. We'll push the top fingertips forward just a little bit. Take the arm over, trying to keep it in touch with the floor. It may or may not work. Opening up, kind of feeling this in the shoulders and the chest. Take it back over. Nice. Good, we'll do one more. Lift it up. And take it out back. Good. Slowly come back up. Let's go back to the hamstring stretch again here. Hinging forward, feet are wide. So come back a little bit. Hinging forward. So in noticing, do you feel any more flexibility here after we've done several stretches for the hips and the legs? If you're coming a little bit closer to the floor. Good, slowly come back up. Let's go back to our back on the mat here. So bringing one knee in towards your chest, lengthen the other leg out, and I want you to flex that foot that's on the floor so that you'll have a little bit of length in that Achilles tendon and the calves. So really working in the low back on one side here. Bringing that leg up to the ceiling, and you can use a strap here if that's easier behind the leg. So bringing that leg a little bit closer. You can softly point the toe if you'd like here. You can carefully walk the hands up. Walk the hands down. And walking up. And walking back down. Good. Bend the knee, bring the other knee in, both knees in. You can cross at the ankles here and just gently rock back and forth, kind of massaging that low back a little bit. Good, release. Lengthen the other leg out, flex that foot, bring that knee in towards the chest. Good, lengthen that leg up to the ceiling, pull it in, walk your hands up, and walk the hands back down, walk the hands up the leg, and walk them back down, and last time, walk them up. And walk them back down. Good, bring both knees into the chest again. And round head, neck, shoulders here, kind of bringing yourself in a tight ball. Slowly come back. Bring both legs to the floor here. And bring the arms out to the side. And we're just going to slowly take the knees side to side. So we're kind of anchoring our hands to the mat here. Sorry, make sure down. You can widen your feet here a little bit. So we'll start off slow in this range of motion, kind of loosening up. Shoulders are connected to the mat here, so they're kind of locked in place. And as you start to loosen up in the low hips, you can start to go a little bit further. Trying to keep the shoulders in place. So as you go to one side, make sure that opposite shoulder stays down. And now once you feel a little bit loosened up in the hips, you can go to one side, and turn your head in the opposite direction. You get a little bit of rotation in the spine. So you have the top of the spine leaning a little bit one way, and the towards the bottom of the spine and the tailbone leaning the other way. Good. Slowly come back to center. Take the knees to the other side and turn your head in the opposite direction of your knees. Good, come back to center, bend the knees, cross one foot over the knee, and now let's start with that rock back and forth again. Taking the foot towards the floor, taking the knee towards the floor. So you have some nice external rotation on that foot that's bent. Shoulders are keeping you in place here. And we're not forcing the foot or the knee towards the mat, we're just gently rounding down. And again, just like before, as you feel you're loosening up in the hips a little bit, you can take it to one side, keeping that opposite shoulder in place. Slowly come back to center. Carefully take it to the other side. And again, not forcing it, we're just letting kind of gravity pull on that knee and take it down. Good, slowly come back to center. Let's carefully go to the other side. So gently taking it down a little bit further each time, keeping those shoulders connected to the mat. When you're ready, carefully taking it down to one side. Carefully coming back to center. Take it to the other side. Slowly coming back to center, uncross. Carefully come back up, and let's try that hamstring stretch one more time. Hinging forward. Slowly come back up. So that's all for today. Hopefully that helps you to feel a little more relaxed, helps those muscles lengthen out, lengthen out a little bit, and hopefully contributes to a wonderful night's sleep. So have a great day, and thanks for joining us today. Bye.